On the 1st of April, 2026, a cruise ship departed from Ushuaia, Argentina. The ship carried around 150 passengers from 23 different countries. Its destination was Antarctica and the remote islands of the South Atlantic Ocean. At first, everything seemed normal. Passengers attended parties. They shared dinners. They took photographs of glaciers and seabirds. No one on board knew that this journey was about to turn into a medical nightmare. 5 days into the voyage, a 70-year-old Dutch passenger developed a fever. At first, it looked harmless. A headache, mild diarrhea, fatigue. The ship's doctor suspected a routine infection. But within days, the man's condition deteriorated rapidly. He began struggling to breathe. Then on 11th of April, he died on board the ship. At the time, nobody knew what had killed him. And because the symptoms resembled a severe flu infection, passengers continued socializing normally. But the virus was already moving silently through the ship. On 24th of April, the cruise docked at St. Helena, an isolated island in the Atlantic Ocean. The dead passenger's wife left the ship carrying his body. The next day, while preparing to board a flight from South Africa to Amsterdam, she suddenly collapsed at the airport. Within 24 hours, she was dead. Now the situation was becoming impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, on board the ship, more passengers started getting sick. A German tourist developed the Hall fever. Another passenger reported severe breathing problems. Then another death followed. Health authorities finally realized this was not an isolated medical incident. On 2nd May, the World Health Organization was informed. Samples were rushed to laboratories. Then came the diagnosis: Hantavirus, a virus with no approved cure, no universally approved vaccine, and in severe cases, a mortality rate that could approach 50%. Suddenly, headlines around the world began reporting on a cruise ship trapped at sea with a deadly viral outbreak on board. Countries became reluctant to let the ship dock. Passengers remained isolated for days as health officials tried to understand how the virus was spreading. Because what made this outbreak terrifying was not just the virus itself. It was the specific strain involved, the Andes virus, one of the only hantavirus strains ever confirmed to spread from human to human. To understand why scientists were alarmed, we need to go back decades. Hantavirus is not a single virus. It is an entire family of viruses carried mainly by rodents. Different rodents carry different strains. In Asia and Europe, hantaviruses are known to cause hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome. This disease attacks the kidneys and can cause internal bleeding. But in North and South America, another form appears: Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. Instead of the kidneys, this version attacks the lungs. Fluid begins filling the lungs rapidly. Patients struggle to breathe, and many eventually die from respiratory failure. The modern history of hantavirus began during the Korean War in the 1950s. Thousands of soldiers suddenly developed fever, vomiting, and kidney failure. Doctors had no idea what was causing it. For decades, the mystery remained unsolved. Then, in the 1970s, South Korean scientist Dr. Ho Wong Lee identified the virus inside rodents near the Hantan River. That is where the virus got its name. But most terrifying chapter came decades later. In 1993, a mysterious outbreak appeared in the southwestern United States. Young and healthy people from the Navajo Nation began dying suddenly. First came flu-like symptoms, then their lungs filled with fluid. Some died within hours. At first, the mortality rate approached 75%. Scientists were desperate to find the source. Then local tribal aiders shared something important. After heavy rainfall, rodent populations increased dramatically. More rain meant more vegetation. More vegetation meant more food for rats. And more rats meant a higher chance of viral transmission. Scientists later connected the outbreak to El Niño. The climate event had produced unusually heavy rainfall across the region. And with exploding rodent populations came the virus. For years, experts believed hantaviruses could spread only from rodents to humans. But that assumption changed. In 1996, in southern Argentina, investigators documented something deeply concerning: human-to-human transmission. The strain responsible was the Andes virus. Unlike most hantaviruses, Andes virus could spread through extremely close contact between people, not through the air like COVID-19, not casually, but through prolonged exposure, shared living spaces, and contact with bodily fluids. That is why scientists believe the 2026 cruise ship outbreak became possible. According to investigators, the original Dutch couple may have visited a rodent-infested landfill area during a bird-watching trip near Ushuaia before boarding the ship. After infection, they unknowingly carried the virus on board. Inside the enclosed environment of the cruise ship, close human contact allowed transmission to occur. By May 10th, at least 10 confirmed cases had been linked to the outbreak. Several passengers required emergency medical evacuation. Some remained hospitalized in intensive care units across multiple countries. 4 days the ship remained stranded near the coast of West Africa because countries refused docking permission. Eventually, Spain allowed the vessel to dock in the Canary Islands. Passengers were evacuated under strict medical supervision. The outbreak triggered international concern. But, despite the fear, experts say the chances of a global hantavirus pandemic remain relatively low. There are two major reasons. First, the transmission window for Andes virus appears to be very short. Second, it does not spread easily through the air like influenza or coronavirus. Most transmission requires prolonged close contact. Still, scientists remain cautious because the mortality rate is extremely high, and climate conditions linked to El Niño may increase rodent populations in several regions of the world, which means outbreaks could become more frequent. Today, hantavirus remains a silent threat. Most people never hear about it, unless an outbreak makes international headlines. But for decades, the virus has continued circulating quietly between rodents and humans across different parts of the world. And the 2026 cruise ship outbreak became a reminder of how quickly an isolated infection can turn into an international emergency, especially in a world more connected than ever before. The virus is ever new. The only difference is that now, the world is paying attention.